Let's get physical, it's Jordan here, back again with this week's update on all the physical releases coming to the Switch. We're in the third week of September 14th until the 18th. Retail, low print and imports, plus our community spotlight where you shop for your pickups and potentially win a physical Switch game. This month is Super Trench Attack, the cute funny game from Pixel Heart. And this episode marks the first anniversary of Let's Get Physical series. Nothing major is planned, but perhaps at the end of the episode I'll mumble on about something, maybe the future of the series, how I think it's going and so on. Who knows? Anyways. Also, last week I mentioned that with the release of RPG Maker MV, we would have a nice little SwitchWatch adventure up for you so that you guys can play. Well, now it is ready. Brian put in 100 hours work to make this happen, so do check that out if you want a mini adventure starring myself, Juan and James. You can play it completely free if you download the RPG Maker Player app off the eShop and use the ID 90, that's 90. The free codes we gave away are gone now, but you know, it's still a fun time. Don't forget to do us a favor and give it 5 stars too. Anyways, this week's physicals. Are you ready? Crosscode looks to be finally getting its physical release this week, at least at retail. I'm not sure what's happening with Strictly Limited's version of it, but anyways, this is an exceptional indie RPG that is one heck of an adventure, or so I've heard. Surprisingly packed, surprisingly polished. If you love 16-bit RPGs, then I think you'll need to give this one a try. It's releasing physically in Europe for sure. North America is due for later, I believe, but not 100% sure on that. I think it's going to be a must-have title for fans of RPGs. And this is Jonathan Rumo's Pick of the Week. He didn't even need to look at the other choices. No Straight Roads is getting its long-delayed physical release this week in either a standard or collector's edition. I've seen this one out in the wild in the past couple of weeks now already, must have sneaked out early. Anyways, this is a rhythm-type game that looks to be a lot like Jet Set Radio in kind of style, however, supposedly plays only decently rather than as great as it's been hyped as. And this is Brent McLean's Pick of the Week. He wanted a left-field choice this time. Following a good few weeks after its release in Asia and Japan, the Samurai Showdown Neo Geo collection is hitting shelves in Europe this week. This has 7 Samurai Showdown games on the cartridge, including one that was never released publicly, which is an interesting story in itself. Anyways, of all the fighting Neo Geo games, this series has been my favorite just because samurai are awesome, and the attention to detail here, the graphics, the music, the style is just top notch. They are great fighters too, and this collection is put together with love. Sadly, the US does not have any announced standard retail release. The only release that they have was the expensive collector's edition from Limited Run. No way to just get the game on its own, at least for now. Void Bastards is the pleasingly titled first-person shooter that dropped with a bit of a bang digitally not too long ago. Can you lead the misfit prisoners of the Void Ark through the derelict spaceships and myriad dangers of the Sargasso Nebula? Or something? Well, will you make... I'm just reading the PR here. Will you make the right choices about what to do, where to go, and when to fight? Master combat, manage ship controls, scavenge supplies, craft improvised tools, and much, much more. Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. This physical release comes with the Bang Tidy DLC included, which is a nice touch. Sadly, this one slipped through our fingers for review, though we haven't actually tried it ourselves. Gannicus has chosen this as his pick of the week, I think. WWE 2K Battlegrounds? Well, I mean, what can you say? The world is in turmoil, pandemics, infernos, but hey, at least midget wrestling is still a thing. Wait, what? Yeah, God knows how this made it past the pitching stages in the 2K offices, but it did. And here it is looking properly ridiculous, and I respect that, even if it does look a little bit pants. They've got balls to do this in this day and age. I'm not a fan of wrestling, but the fact that they have Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock on the front cover means that it's hardly in the healthiest of states, you know, when you're relying on your stars from 20 years ago. Also, some dude called Mario is apparently 35 years old this year. Big deal, dude. I'm 30 next month, and that's a much more important milestone. But anyways, he's showing off and putting a collection of old-ass games together. Imagine a compilation with only 3 games. What a joker. And he has the cheat to call it All-Stars as though he thinks it's like something special. And if you can't tell I'm joking by now, please go see some help. I cannot bloody wait to play Mario 64 and Galaxy again, and you know what, I'm even excited to give Sunshine another go, even though I tried so hard to get into it back in the day. You know, it just never clicked with me at all, but who knows, let's see like 20 years later. Yeah, people will have their complaints, where's Galaxy 2? I hear ya, limited quantity, do me a melon. Obviously that's marketing bullshit by a new guy in PR who thinks that's a cool thing to do. There's no way in Bowser's Castle this is limited. Doesn't matter anyways, it's going to be one of the biggest games of the year, 10 million sold easy. And only Dane Wilkinson has chosen this as his pick of the week. God knows what the rest of the execs have been smoking. Just joking, of course, but I genuinely assume that this would have got 5 out of 5 from the boss men. Alright, low prints. I don't usually include Pixel Heart in this section because even though they do have numbered releases, they are pretty high and readily available in stores, but I think they've got an exception here. Their upcoming release of Golden Force. On their website, they have 2,000 copies of a limited edition, as well as 1,000 copies of a more expensive Mercenaries edition, which contains all sorts of stuff, including a steelbook. I think they call it a future pack, whatever that is. It looks like a steelbook. It looks pretty sweet, and the full product is due at the end of this year. But you can get your order in now. The standard edition is just a normal retail release, so no limit shown on that one. Last week, Red Out Games announced a surprise new game. This time it's Kholat. Now, this immediately grabbed my attention, not because of the quality of the game, just of the mention of its inspiration. This is a walking simulator inspired by the mysterious incident at the Dilatov Pass. If you don't know what that is, well, just read up on it. There's a long-ass BBC article that covers it really, really well, and it absolutely fascinated me when I read it. I'll put a link in the description if I remember. It's well worth reading if you're into mysteries. The game itself, well, is supposedly a decent enough time, nothing special, a little bit rough around the edges, more creepy than scary. Anyways, this is up for pre-order now. Dunking on Limited Run would be a lot more fun if they didn't make it so easy for me. Limited Run are putting up a pre-order for a reprint of Shantae Half-Genie Hero, which is supposedly pretty scarce in North America. This is published by Exceed and distributed by Limited Run Games. They had nothing to do with the original batch, but are milking the Shantae fans' drive by helping out with this reprint, which is a bit weird. The company that promises no reprints is helping out with a reprint of a game. Anyways, if you need your Shantae collection complete, then you may want to pick this one up. Pre-orders are open now. Super Rare Games have made their latest game announcement, this time something completely different. Freedom Finger is an interesting shoot-'em-up, obviously a bit ballsy in its presentation, but that's mostly the fun of it. It has voice acting from some of the biggest names in the business, and I know a lot of people are excited about this one. 4,000 copies on September 17th. God of Resin has chosen this as his pick of the week. Alright, let's jump into the imports for this week. Just remember that if any of them take your fancy and you'd like to import them for yourself, then there are import links below in the description and the pinned comment. Any purchase that you make using those links helps support the SwitchWatch team massively. We get a small percentage of sales and everything really does help support the series very, very much. Plus, in return, as a thanks, you all can also get 5% off your order if when checking out on PlayAsia, you use the coupon code SwitchWatchTV. That's all one word while checking out SwitchWatchTV for 5% off your order. It really does help us out so much. Alright, Moero Crystal H is the pick of the imports this week for me personally. This is a dungeon crawling RPG with fan service for days. One for cultured players only. You play as the lucky pervert? No, seriously. As you entice monster girls in scantily clad outfits to fight by your side. Great artwork, no doubt grindy gameplay. I think this is going to satisfy a lot of people. This is a slightly older game but new to the Switch, and it's the first time it's getting released in English too. This release is exclusive to PlayAsia, and there's a standard edition as well as a collector's edition. However, the collector's edition is already sold out, which is a pity, but I'm sure there's plenty of standard editions to go around. Atomicrops is going to be a good one for importers to get their hands on. This roguelike farming shoot-'em-up is a very interesting genre mix-up. The tagline for the game is farm, marry, kill, with fast-paced action that you may be shocked by if you went into it thinking you're going to be into some chilled out farming life sim, kind of like Harvest Moon, but this is a pretty hardcore game and a lot of fun too, as we attest to in our review. It has a very imaginative art style, nice gameplay loop, and I'm surprised it's only getting a physical release in Japan, although I wouldn't be surprised if this gets a low print one later in the West. No Western physical release has been announced so far, but we'll see. But, it is right for import, as this Japanese physical release does have English on the cartridge, according to the Japanese eShop. Azur Lane Crosswave is an interesting looking game, mixing anime girls with third-person shooting. I actually assumed this was a visual novel until I took a look at the alternative trailer, but no, you're hovering on water as an anime girl shooting down battleships. Brutal. Sadly, this one does not have English at the minute, and I don't know the likelihood of it ever getting one. It is compile hard, so it's going to be hit and miss on that. Pro YAKYUU FAMISTA 2020 is a baseball game. It's a fun-looking arcade effort from Bandai. Sadly, I can't offer more info than that. English is currently unknown, but I would say that it is unlikely. BIRUSHANA SENSA GENPEI HIKA MUSOU is an otome visual novel from Idea Factory. As far as I'm aware, there is no English, which is a pity, as I'm a fan of feudal Japan setting. Alright, let's jump into the Let's Get Physical Communal Spotlight where you show off your pickups, and if you're featured, then at the end of the month you'll be in the draw to win a physical Switch game. I've decided on this month's prize already, as mentioned. This is special thanks to the good people at Pixel Heart. They've allowed us to give away Super Trench Attack for September. Be sure to check out their website, pixelheart.eu, to have a nice look at their stuff as a thank you. Alright, firstly, me, this week, I got in quite an obscure import exclusive release. This is the Rolling Sky Collection. This physical release is exclusive to Southeast Asia area, such as Singapore and the like. It's a collection of 2 games that, while may have the same kind of concept and gameplay, they feel so different due to the visual presentation. They are both vertical auto runners, with the first game having a simple look to it, while the sequel is more ambitious, going for a storytelling quality with it. They are simple, but pack a challenge. Especially the first game is the kind that you need to try each level many times before you're able to conquer it, and it's so satisfying once you do. One thing is for sure, that the music is fantastic. I love my game music, and this satisfies me very, very much. As a package, it is nicely put together, lots of languages including good old English. Now they're not the best games ever, of course, but I really like that something like this can be put on a physical cartridge, at least in Asia. It's totally random, and if you've seen my collection, you know that's what I thrive on. It's not essential, but if you want a talking point in your collection, I think it's safe to say that not many of your collector friends are gonna have this one. You bring this one up and they'll be like, where on earth did that come from? If you want it for yourself, then there are links below in the description. Alright, on to you lot. N0 sent in this picture showing off some very nice Japanese stuff. Nice to see Kholat being sent out from Limited Run as a distribution game. I think that's the first time I've seen it on this series so far. Joseph Wharton Walker sent in a nice mix of 3 games. Any thoughts on Jump Force, guys? It's been out a couple of weeks now. Is it decent on Switch? Dennis Sorvanos, I'm sorry if I said your name incorrectly, sent in this epic collection. A mix of limited run and imports. Always makes me smile to see the Final Fantasy 7 and 8 double pack. Jessica Yeo sent in this wonderful picture showing off that doggo that has no idea what awesomeness is in store for them with this quad set of epic strategy RPG import exclusives. I highly recommend all of these games, as I'm sure you've all heard by now in my reviews, but for me, at least one of these is essential to import. Streaming on the Corner got in the Shantae mood, obviously from last week. I wonder if they pre-ordered the rest of the games from Limited Run. Peter Clark was one to get in murder by numbers this week after Play Asia finally sent this one out as part of their exclusive line. Mine arrived a couple of days ago too, but I haven't got around to unboxing it yet as of the time of recording. Maybe in next week's video, or I'll put it on my old channel, I don't know. It is a fantastic package and excellently priced too for the content that you're getting. Yo Daddy sent in this photo showing off the glorious looking Xenoblade 2 Collector's Edition, which, I'm super jealous of. It looks fantastic, worth it for that box art alone, I would think. Rebecca Khan was lucky to win Snooker 19, signed by Ronnie O'Sullivan and Neil Robertson from us as part of a competition, and it finally arrived to her. Good to know that she's actually a massive fan of Ronnie too. Turned out nicely. Chucks Taylor's got in the Best Buy variant of The Missing, which actually looks pretty dope. Nothing to do with that lovely blonde lady at all. Nope, not at all. Corey Graham showed off this updated collection with an eye dazzler, but then showed off the new stuff, including the very obscure import of Super Cane Magic Zero. I think that's how to say it. I always get the words the wrong way around. But anyways, plus it also got Starling, which seems to be forgotten about these days, even though it's a pretty fun game. They also got in these 3. It's been a while, but like any good 80s action hero, he's back for a sequel. Kirk Canongrave sent in these 2 games with a nice deluxe edition of Captain Tsubasa, looking very important there with the golden hue. Are you all enjoying this one? I really hope so. Jayton sent in these games, both highly regarded indie titles. I've yet to try Forager, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. They also picked up Ring Fit. Alolan Joe got in a couple of nice imports, the Japanese version of Obakeidoro, which I mentioned last week when it's got its Asian release, plus the legendary Fire Crab, just beautiful. Choco Loco James won last month's community giveaway, and it finally arrived in Japan. House Flipper, the signature edition, which looks like it might be quite a bit of fun if you're into something a little bit different. Ravici got in Murder by Numbers, alongside some great games. That's got to be the first Animal Crossing game that I've seen in ages. I bet most of those sales are downloads. Juan, yes, our very own Juan, picked up these from Super Rare, and he did an unboxing of them all in a video the other day if you want to check that one out. Neverbirth raided NIS America's warehouse with some fine pickups. Wow, the RPG Maker Collector's Edition is much smaller than I thought. They also got in some nice low print stuff. Gonzalo Garrido sent in a couple of limited run releases, including that nice chunky boy Chonka, the collector's edition of the Mighty Switch Force. Chewit was quick to get their Dandara, plus a few other games that added up to a nice bargain price. I'd be happy to have all of those in my collection. YAKYUU got in the rather compelling looking World End Syndrome in the nice collector's edition that it comes with. Hope there's no spoilers in that art book page. Spawn 7 got eclectic with 3 very different games, so this Rico game, is it any good? I know there was a bit of hype about it when it released, but I've never actually seen reviews for it when it dropped. Robert will be making Pixel Heart Smile with 2 releases from their North American distributor, VGNY. Remember, we're giving away Super Trench Attack, the European version, as this month's prize. Horse Flesh Flavored Ice Cream, I will never forget that name, got in some retro-inspired goodness via limited run. I remember I played the original Toe Jam not too long ago. I think it might have been on the Mega Drive collection, and honestly, I just had no clue what was going on. Fluttershout got in Chroma Squad, looking nice and colourful. Super Rare always do that well. Plus, after a long delay on the PlayStation 4, they finally got in the Mighty Switch Force collection. Nice little package, that one. Our executive producer God of Risen picked up the collector's edition of RPG Maker MV from NIS America's website. I think there's going to be quite a collectible in the future. Plus, a couple of great imports from Play Asia. I swear, if I do not add Katana Kami to my collection before the end of the year, I'm quitting. I give up. MMO Hasa waited a long time before one of the holy grails in terms of just pure beauty turned up. Yes, the Japanese version of Golf Story from B-Side Games. It is a sight to behold. It ain't cheap, it's a pain in the ass to get, but my god, is it worth it for that slipcase. Mansfield Bear picked up these games Into the Dead 2, a really obscure one, not the best game, obviously ripping off The Walking Dead, but you know, gameplay is rather unique, and I'm always up for a game that's not often seen physically. He also picked up these Guns of Mercy, a pretty recent one from Pixel Heart. I don't think this would be like their most popular title, but I do want to try it myself if I can ever find a copy here in China. YZ showed off a quick 3-step guide on how to get the FBI knocking at your door with the collector's edition of Maitetsu Pure Station. Good looking prison. Retro Boy got in these games, including some super obscure stuff like the USK diseased releases of Gem Smashers and Tales of the Tiny Planet. Not going to be seeing these often. Aside from winning the signature edition of Streets of Rage 4, Craig Morgan also bought limited runs. What a double dose of beat 'em up goodness. Valiant Spain got in the dope-looking Avicii Invector. They said that they're enjoying this very much, and you know, I'm into rhythm games, so it might be right up my alley. Chris Stade got in Streets of Rage 4 Collector's Edition from Limited Run, looking really sharp indeed. Chris Giles just had to get in Helmet, didn't he? I mean, is it time that I got this one myself? I think it may have come to that point. Joel Parker picked up Contra for like £6, which, you know, say what you want about the game, that's cheap as hell, even if you end up using it as like a table coaster. They also got in Inertial Drift, which is looking pretty badass. Check out our review. Zelafiel with the goddamn helmet alongside some fine other games, the Chunky Chonga, La Mulana 1 and 2. Love it. Sabderabin, I'm sorry I don't know how to say your name, sent in this photo of plenty fine releases. Has Indivisible released in the US yet? I'm sure it was supposed to have been, but I've not seen anyone post it to my knowledge. Derek Jenkins showed off his latest gets from Strictly Limited, perhaps their most important release to date, the Darius Super Duper Extra Expensive Collector's Edition, or whatever it's called. Nicely shown off in this fine collage. Champ Dancer was one to pick up Murder by Numbers. Happy to see that. From our numbers in Play Asia, it seems like over 20 of you have used our link to purchase this, for which I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. AJ Cordell sent in this photo of the Asian release of River City Girls. I may be Asian biased, but this has to be the best cover of the lot, right? Better than Limited Run and Best Buy, I would say. You know, the facial expressions, they're just more likable here. Count Kaiju sent in this photo. I am well excited for the Puyo Puyo Tetris sequel that's coming soon. I don't think a sequel was exactly necessary since it was pretty much perfection, but I can't wait to see what they do with it. Boombox got in these two games, a nice import of Furwin from him. Sadly didn't release in North America this one, a nice little pixel platformer. Stephen Dummett also got in the Streets of Rage 4 Collector's Edition from Limited Run. Honestly, that is looking so nice. I don't know which one I like more, the Signature Edition or the Limited Run one. I don't know. What do you guys think? Alright, thanks ladies and gents, it's always fantastic to see what you've got. Please send me your pics over on Twitter at SoWhatAboutGame. You can DM me, or you can tag me in a post and use the hashtag Let's Get Physical, and I'll give you a nice little retweet to boot. Or you can email it into us at contactors@switchwatch.co.uk. Just make sure you start the email title with Community Spotlight so don't miss it. Plus, we have a Discord, which is always a nice way for us to have a chat with you guys, and you can submit your photo there in the submission section. It's very convenient. The Discord link is below in the description. Alright, so, as promised, here's a little bit of a ramble from me about the state of the series. It's 1 year anniversary, so let's have a little look back and maybe have a little bit of complaining and stuff like that. Personally, I'm actually kind of happy with the flow that I've gotten into with the series. I think it's at a point, content-wise, that I feel like it's the best that it's been since I started. Been a few dips here and there, but, I'm kind of locked in with it. Looking back on the first episode, I think it's come a long way. Even though I barely have time to stop and think about, how to take it to the next level. I don't have a whole lot of time to make these videos, hence some errors popping up now and again. Maybe cutting corners on editing here and there. Usually I have one solid day a week to put this together. When I first started, actually, it took only a couple of hours work. It wasn't too bad. But as more and more is getting added, my personal spotlight, giveaways, community spotlight, the Legends pick of the week, even things like adding box art, it kind of really bloated how much time these things take to make. Now, I'm not complaining at all, it's just how it is. I think that's why I've really struggled recently to get more reviews out or other kinds of videos. I like to do lists and reviews, but usually I'm so focused on making this. Especially with my full-time job, and I have a young family to take care of. I'm really struggling to do anything other than these videos. And it's fine, it is fine. I really love doing them, and the fact that you guys have helped support it so much with the YouTube memberships, the executive producers, and especially the Play Asia affiliates, that more than makes up for the non-existent growth in the series. It still gets the exact same amount of views per week as the very first episode. So it's 52 episodes, 0 growth, which is the biggest disappointment for me. I'm not a greedy guy, but by now I was hoping it would be getting at least twice as many views as it does. I was really hoping for 10,000 views per episode by now, and I think I would have been happy forever with that. But like I said, with the support of the Play Asia imports, it's still an easy decision to keep going with it rather than cancelling or dumbing down the series in order to make more content that will get a lot more views and add revenue. There has been some suggestions to either cut down the community spotlight, as in be more selective, but honestly that feels like more work, having to sift and choose which ones make it or not, and then I'd also feel really terrible about cutting people out. Other suggestions have been to make the community spotlight as a separate video, but I don't think that would make it any less time consuming, and that would split the viewers in half, I think, because I think a lot of people watch it especially for that segment. It's also been suggested that perhaps do it every 2 weeks instead of every week. I don't know. I think what I'm trying to say is I really wish more people would watch and that there are 36 hours in the day. I'd be very thankful if someone could sort that out. Actually, I think the best solution would be to let SwitchWatch become a full-time job. Then I'd be able to do both this series and also do what I also love doing, making reviews of awesome games. But, at this rate, we'd probably need to earn about 10 times as much as we do in order to make that happen. So it's a bit of a pipe dream, unless we have, other avenues of revenue. We're trying to work on something, but it's still way too early to talk about that. As I don't really know what else to say, I should say a massive thank you to all of you who watch these videos and make comments, when I see stuff like Mondays wouldn't be the same without this video, or you always look forward to Monday so you can see what's coming out. Small things like that really lift my morale. Honestly, it makes my day, and it's hard to convey that without sounding insincere or sounding like I'm looking for more compliments. But, please do know that I appreciate you. If you watch, you leave a comment, leave a like. If you share the video with a friend, you join in with the spotlight, you tag me on Twitter, you use our affiliate links, any of those, all of those. Honestly, I thank you greatly. Thank you so much. It's been 1 year. The series hasn't grown, but I love you guys. All 5,000 of you who watch every week. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of New Physical. Special thanks to our executive producers, Dane Wilkinson, God of Resin, Brent McLean, Jonathan Rumor, Gannicus, and all the others who've joined our memberships. We really appreciate you guys. Check out last week's episode in case you missed it. There was a lot of games last week, just as there are this week. And yeah, we'll see you guys over there Take care.